you know why did it take 110 years for Burnham to pick a partner of color?
Yeah. Do I know why?
Yes.
Well, I wasn't around 110 years ago. I know I look like it, but I wasn't. But I think part of it was, there was a lot of discrimination going on in the country, so there weren't a lot of lawyers of color that were African American, or women for that matter. And so then, so therefore there weren't a lot of, and on top of that, then you go on to the whole society in terms of, people who own companies and who end up having a lot of money and with a big corporate law firm. So just all those factors go in and make it very challenging to have people of color. And so it took a lot longer than I would have thought. But I knew that when I came back to Grand Rapids, and that's one of the reasons I came back, because I knew I would be the first doing a lot of these things. And I love this city, and if I don't come back, who is going to come here, even if they're not from here, especially if they're not from here? And I knew I'd have to be the pioneer and go that route.
You have a couple questions that go with that one, so you can go ahead.
Okay.
Alright. After you became a partner, did you experience any racism during your work?
It's a loaded question.
And then did you have a second part to that about how
yes.
you managed that?
During our research, also while we were searching about you, it strictly said that you were the first person, the first male of color to become a partner.
Yeah.
So that got me wondering in my head if before you there was a female partner to become
there was
of color.
Not of color, but white women had been partners. But another thing too, a lot of African Americans didn't go into corporate law firms like I did because they felt that they wouldn't, for a lot of reasons. One, sometimes they felt like I want to do something different. They didn't like business law like I did. But they also may have said, you know what, I'd rather be in an environment where I'm not dependent on other people to evaluate me. I'll be on my own. If I can stand up in a courtroom and do a trial and do it well, that's how I can, get ahead. And, corporate life is a little different. And so I had, that was a little challenging. And even when I was a partner, yes, there were some times where I felt like, maybe I'm not getting the same opportunities that everyone else is getting, because, it's very difficult for people because this is a lesson I think in life. People, we're just built, we like people who are like us, right? That look like us, that have the same background experiences as us. We gravitate towards that sometimes. And it really is hard. And even this in school, that's how you get cliques and things like that. But you really have to get over that, because you have to appreciate people's differences and that they bring different things and they can make you a better person because they're different than you. But it's very hard. Let's say that all the male partners, and they're not all like this, but let's say they're all white males, or most of them are white males, and they look at, and let's say they're in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, so they're looking at the young associates who are just out of law school. Well, who do they identify with? Who reminds them of themselves at that age? A white male who's in his 20s, not versus a black female or a Hispanic male or a black male. That's not who they're going to relate to necessarily, easily. And so it takes a real effort to overcome that and say, look, this person's different than me, but I've got to look past that and look, what's the quality of this person's work and that kind of thing. And I did feel like sometimes, and I do give this advice to law students of color, is you will sometimes come out with a presumption of incompetence until you prove otherwise. So you have to prove that you can do the work, and then people are like, oh wow, he can do the work. And sometimes when you're not a person of color, you're presumed competent until you prove otherwise. And that does happen where people say, well, he can't do the work, even though he looks like like me. So it's just the way the world is, and you have to accept that. You can't be mad or bitter about it, but you have to just say, I'm going to do my best. Do my part and work to change it. And I've worked to change that. I've worked to educate people in the law community. I speak about that a lot, and why the law firms needed, I've been talking about that for 20, 25 years, why they need to become more diverse, and now why they need to be more inclusive and change some of their systems so that they give everybody the same opportunity.